Today I have one of my favorite micro brands in this package. Actually, there's two watches. Let's get into it. Okay, that was a lot of bubble wrap, and I'm not exactly sure why, because the watches were these great watch pods, which I have used personally for years. Let's see what's in here. Ooh, I've been waiting to see this one for a while. Beautiful. And in here, oh wow, that is even nicer than I was expecting. Which one should we review today? This one or this one? Let's go with this one. So this is the VARIO 1945 D12, and it's a tribute to the purpose-built Dirty Dozen timepieces, which were a collection of Swiss and British watches that were built specifically for the battlefields of World War II. So this is a historically inspired military watch. They were very legible watches with black dials and railroad-style minute tracks. Of course, they had luminous hands and indexes, and the small seconds hand was a big feature on these watches. And VARIO has a number of different colorways for you to check out, but I have to tell you, this is a classic look with that old radium lume color on the hands and the indices and the white numbers as a juxtaposition against the black and the tan. It looks really, really good. Immediately jumping out at me is that VARIO logo. It's just ever so subtly embossed into the dial, and it looks amazing because technically these watches, they didn't have much branding on them, and so VARIO's managed to put their brand on there without compromising the look of that historic military vibe. Now, it's a vintage inspired watch, but it's also a modern watch, so the materials and the choice of movement and everything else is pretty spot on for the specs that you'd expect for a watch that costs about $360 US today. It's got anti-reflective coating on an anti-scratch sapphire crystal, marine grade stainless steel case, of course, 100 meters of water resistance, which is fantastic on a field watch. You're not going to find a vintage piece with 100 meters of water resistance. It's got great lume on it. It's got a Japanese automatic movement, which is a Miyota 82S5 automatic gilt movement with hand winding, hacking, and of course 21 jewels. And a 40-hour power reserve. Now, the actual dimensions on this are not too far off what a vintage piece would be. It's only 37 millimeters, and that struck me right away. It wears like 37 millimeters. It's only 10.5 millimeters thick, and the lug width on those straps is 18 millimeters. So for me, I don't really have any 18 millimeter straps laying around, but for those of you who are more into the vintage vibe, and that's who this is aimed for, you probably do. The lug to lug on this is only 45 millimeters, and so big wrist or small wrist, you're definitely going to be able to wear this. I don't know how it's going to look on my 8.5-inch wrist. Stay tuned for that. And of course, flipping it over, we find that not only does it have a screw-down crown, but it also has a screw-down case back, and that is why this thing has 100 meters of water resistance. Another thing I like about VARIO is that they have a 2-year warranty. A lot of companies only give you 1 year. 2 years is a great warranty in the micro brand business and says a lot about how Ivan feels about the quality of his watches. Now, I've got two straps in for you today, and this one here is a leather strap. I'm quite familiar with VARIO straps. I have a number of them. It has a nice signed buckle. It has two keepers, one fixed, one floating. This is a genuine leather strap, of course. And do be warned that VARIO straps tend to be a little bit on the short side. Flipping it over, a nice touch is the way they have signed that crown with a very subtle V logo, which sort of disappears depending on the light in which you're looking at it. Oh, and I should mention the strap is also quick release, which is a great thing. I wanted to switch it out to this Cordura strap because this is the strap that they have advertised on the website that will come with this watch. Cordura is a great material and it looks really good on this watch. I like it a lot. Now, this one has a signed buckle as well, a bit of a different shape. Cordura is a great material for this watch. It feels really good on this one. Now, how does it look on my 8.5-inch wrist? Well, here you go. I can't get it buckled up. So this is how it looks. So I would think 7.5-inch wrist and lower is probably the way to go for this. So before we wrap this up, I just want to draw your attention to a few things that really stand out for me. I really like the shape of those lugs and the brushing on them. Very well done with that polished chamfer. Very elegant, but in a masculine way, if that makes any sense to you. The bezel is really cool. The way it slopes up and then it flattens out. And it's a mixture of brushing and polishing, which is something that you don't see very often. This is a really cool case and a really cool bezel. The texture on that dial is really well done. And just look at how those numbers pop out. They are so thickly applied, but everything is crisp and clean. Man, this is just a great looking watch. And if you look at that sub dial, you're going to see that it's multi-layered and multi-leveled, and it adds just so much interest to this watch. This thing is absolutely beautiful. I would love to have one of these in 41 millimeters. Thanks again to VARIO for lending this one in. It's a great looking watch. You can pick yours up on their website. It's $368 US. And I'll tell you, if you like the look of this one, you're not going to be disappointed.